Okay, what's up, guys? This is the video for week number 6. So we discovered data frames in this week. So there's a file in Google Classroom called Code for Tutorial. So this is what we actually used for this one, and you make a copy of it. Okay, so let's make a copy of it. And once you make a copy, you should get this. So first, obviously, run these import packages. These are always really important, right, guys? So I'm running that. Okay, cool. Now we have to select a file. It's actually been a while since I used this file, so I might have to search for it. I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. See, I found the file that matches this. And now when I run this, ooh, what happened? Disconnected. Oh, there we go. I think I lost the internet connection for a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so when I print this df, look at all these rows. All the rows of the data set show up. So this is what we call a data frame. It's almost like that thing we saw in Excel with tables, so rows and columns. It's very similar to that. So that's what we're going to be discovering for this week. So we can get the first 5 rows of a data set using head and the last 5 rows by using tail. So look at this. If I run this, I only get the first 5 rows. You can also put a number inside these parentheses. So let's get let's say the first 8 rows. You can do that as well. Now let's say I wanted to get the last 5 rows. Then all I'll do is this. And I could do the same thing. If I want to get the last 8 rows, I can do it like that as well. So yeah, just one more thing to consider, this is usually used when you want to get like a general view of like the first few numbers in a set or like understand what the variables are. So yeah. And also with data frames and this Google Jupyter the Google Colab notebook in general. If you don't put the print statement, the last line that you have code on is the one that's gonna run, right? So if you're trying to print something, like I told you guys this before, when you want to print something in Google Cloud, like you don't actually have to put the print statement, unlike other compilers, right? But let's say I put dot tail over here now. Now it's gonna only run the tail. It won't run head anymore. It'll only run tail because that's the last thing to be run. Last thing to be printed on the last line. So yeah. Okay, so if you want to select a certain column, let's say we only wanted temperature, right? This is how you would do it. So you have 2 brackets, and then you have to put this quotation mark, and then you have to have the exact same spelling in exact same capital cases as the variable that you're trying to call. So when I do this, look at that. You guys see that? You got all the temperatures. So yeah. You can also drop columns from a data frame. So look at this. So df dot drop, and then we're gonna do let's say season, okay, and then we'll say axis equals 1. So once we do this, you guys can say season's gone completely. Now let's say I run df dot head. Do you guys think season will be gone? The funny thing is it actually will still be there. So this is one thing about Google Cloud. Like when we use these functions, it basically creates another data frame. It doesn't get stored in the variable df, right? So df is a data frame variable, right? But when you do this function, it doesn't get stored in the variable df. It just creates another data frame. So this is just like a different instance of it. You see, this df.drop is like another data frame. It's not the same as df, okay, guys? So when you do this df.drop, it's a completely different thing than df. Yeah. So I hope you guys understood that. But if you want, but you know what you could do? You can assign something to, like, you can assign this data frame to this data frame, and now it'll print the correct thing. Look at this. Now if you try this, or maybe let's try a different variable, 3. df2 is now, oh, my bad. Yeah, now look at that, season's gone. So you can assign it to another variable, but if you just run it like this, it won't make a difference. You have to actually assign it to another variable. Yeah, okay. Okay, assigning data frames to other data frames. So look at this. Let's say I wanted to make a new data frame called df4, okay? Let's say I only wanted it to have the season and yeah, just season and maybe temperature. Let me put it over here. Temperature. Look at this. Yeah. So now if you run this df4 dot head, look at this. It's only having season and temperature. So you can assign this data frame to another data frame, like much like we did up here actually. Like in the previous example, I think I deleted it now, but it's much similar. You can also use mathematical expressions. So sum is actually really cool, but you can only use it for numerical variables, right? So basically what it'll do is it'll add up all the numbers in a column. So I'm doing temperature because that's only numerical variable. So it's gonna add up everything. Okay. So if I do dot sum, look at that, it added up all the temperatures. I say it's not like super useful in this situation. Like no one cares if you add up all the temperatures, but you know, it could be used for average if you divide by 15. So yeah. And you can also use mathematical expressions. Let's say I wanted to divide all the temperatures by 2 or something like that. If I wanted to do that, look at this. You guys see that? I multiplied all the temperatures by 2. 80 times 2 is 160. 82 times 2 is 164. So you can do mathematical expressions. You can also divide by 2. You can even mod by 2 if you guys all remember what mod is, right? So yeah. But for now, I'm just going to keep something there. That looks better. You can get true or false for each row in your data frame. Basically, you can check for certain statements. Let's say I only wanted to use temperatures that are greater than 80 degrees, right? So what I can do is temperature, and then I have to go outside of this first bracket, and I do greater than 80. And look at this. Ooh, wait 1 second. Actually, it might be outside. My bad. I think it's outside. Yeah, my bad. There it is. It's outside. So you can check for each row here, basically. You can check that each row is, greater than 80 or not. The ones that are true are the ones that are actually greater than 80. So yeah. You can select columns based off certain features and requirements as well. So let's see. Oh yeah, my bad. So I'll explain this right after I write it. Yeah, I think I confused the other one with this one. Yeah, there we go. This one makes more sense. So what this does is it returns true or false for a certain statement, but this is a little bit different now. This returns only the rows that actually qualify for that statement. This is different, okay? So what we're technically doing here is we're putting df temperature inside the df, and we're saying like we only want the rows that are above 80. For this one, we're just saying if it's false, true or false, that's it. So I hope you guys understand the difference. It's a little bit tough, but you just have to remember the syntax for it. And you can also get information about the general view of a data set. So there's this thing called dot describe, basically. And when you use dot describe, it gives you a lot of important information. Like you guys see this? It's giving you information about temperature. So like it's giving you the mean, the 25th, 50, and 75th percentile, the maximum, minimum, all that type of information. Let's say I wanted information about the categorical variables. I would actually have to drop temperature because it is a numerical variable. So let's say I drop temperature, temperature, and then I do axis equals 1, and I can do dot describe over here, and look at this. You guys see that? So it's giving me information about city, season, month, which are all categorical variables. And you guys also see one more thing. I use multiple functions on DF. Like you see 2 dot operators over here, which is kind of cool, right? Like you don't have to actually make a separate variable and all that. Like this is a data frame itself, right? So you can do dot describe on that data frame. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing. It's a little bit advanced. You don't have to do that either. I actually put the wrong word over here. I think it's set index. So yeah. Okay, so what set index does is, I'll show you guys in the data frame right here. You guys see this is called the index right here. It's like giving the row number, right? But let's say we wanted the rows to be numbered by like, let's say month. Okay, so we can do that. Look at this. Set index, and we can do month. Look at this. So if we do this, you guys see how the index is now month? Those row numbers are gone. It's month now. But remember that other function that we used? I think it was where is this here? Okay. Drop, right? Remember how we thought it dropped initially, but it didn't? If you run df now, look at this. That row number comes back. So once again, this is like creating another data frame. It's not in df. It's not stored in the variable df. Okay, guys? This is like a different data frame. But you guys can see the effects. The index is now the month. Yeah. So, but if you run df, it's going to be row numbers like usual. So yeah. Yeah, I hope you guys understood this. Don't try to memorize it, but I would say like try practicing, using this, try to follow along. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.